Today we're going to be talking about how to curate a college list. This process involves careful consideration of various factors to, make sure that the chosen university, the chosen institute, it aligns with you holistically. It aligns with you as a person, you academically, your professional goals, different things like that. So today we're going to be discussing some ways in which you can ensure to make a better college list that is suited for you and it's tailored for you specially. First up, you have to look at self-assessments. So reflect on your academic strengths, your weaknesses, your interests, and your career aspirations. I personally think the sooner you start with this, the better. In colleges, they look at, not in colleges, but college officers, they look at your last 4 years of high school, so 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. So I know 9th and 8th grade are you're very young, you hardly know a lot about yourself, and you can't really project your interest in the future. So I do think this is kind of a really crucial time, but the earlier you start with the clarity process, I think the better, because for example, I really wanted to be a psychologist, but then I switched to wanting to go into marketing, which is, there's such a stark difference. So again, the sooner you start, I think the better it will be for you, just to get an idea of what you like and what you don't like, especially based on subjects. In 9th grade, you will start with your subject selection in MYP4. They'll give you choices between different subjects and you can take them based on your school and the subjects they offer. For example, some schools have INS, which is Individuals and Societies, which is like an integration of all humanity subjects. But then they also have other things like history and geography, or maybe even economics and business. So you never know, but I think the sooner you start, the better it is for you. Consider what type of career stream you want to go into. If you want to go into STEM or humanities, languages, whatever, that will really help you clear things out. And also what type of campus environment you think suits you best. If you like bigger classes, maybe a public school would be really good for you. And public schools are really good as well, just because, the public school doesn't mean that there are any, there are some private schools that have more benefits and more resources. But a lot of public schools like UC Berkeley and UCLA, well, they're top tier schools, but they're also so great. But if you're into smaller classrooms, then a private university would be great for you. There are some such as DePaul, I think, what it's called in the US. It's a private institute, and you can get that great private and more smaller connection-based experience in college with these types of universities. Next up is research. So explore different colleges and universities online using resources like college websites, guidebooks, and rankings. You should pay attention to factors, such as academic programs, their faculty reputation, their campus culture, their location, the size, the campus facilities, what extra clubs or societies they offer, which would come under extracurriculars, and also the financial aid options. A lot of people have this issue. It's like we only know really good universities like Ivy Leagues because they're popular. So there is this thing, I think I should have started off with that actually, but there's this thing where you have safeties, matches, targets, and reaches. It depends on your extracurricular and it depends where you're applying, but holistically, your grades matter quite a lot. So based on that, and if you're going to the US, then your extracurriculars and your awards Based on those things, you check with acceptance rate of universities based on how you match that criteria. Is this university more of a match for you that, oh yeah, I would get in based on what they're requiring and what I have? It's very cohesive. Or yeah, I could definitely get into this, like this is a safety. Oh no, my grades aren't this good, so this is more of a reach or target. So that also is a big factor. But if you're like clueless of where to look first for colleges in general, I think you should go to rankings, like I just said. Go to QS ranking, US News. These colleges, these rankings, they rank colleges for you based on major. Time magazine, or was it um, New York Times? Yeah, New York Times, I think, has their own list. So you can search these up. I usually go by the QS ranking, and you can search up by world ranking, by a country, by majors, different things, and that will help you understand where to start from. Thirdly is the prioritizing criteria. So identify the most important criteria for you in college, such as academic reputation, location, size, available majors, campus cultures, diversity, the cost of attending that university, things like that. Because like there's no one size fits all. Just because this university in particular is popular doesn't mean that it's going to be great for you. For example, Imperial College London is based in the UK, and they're very focused on grades in the UK, especially in comparison to like the US. But the thing with Imperial College London in particular is that that's a very STEM based school. They have a lot of STEM opportunities and not for other majors as such. And if you look at the QS ranking, it's in the top 10 in the world. But just because it's in the top 10 in the world and you're applying to UK doesn't mean you should put that in your list just because it's in the top 10, it's reputable, it's really good. If you're going into humanities or linguistics, you going to a STEM based school is not gonna make sense for you at all, because it's going to be limited for opportunities for you in the end. So when you're researching, you really need to look at this stuff, and you need to really sit down and make sure you prioritize a criteria for yourself. What are you looking for in a university? Based on that, it's going to help you understand what's better going to be fitted for you. Number 4, create a preliminary list. So based on your research and your priorities, make a list of colleges that you think are a good fit for you. Include a mix of reaches where admissions may be challenging but possible, targets where admission is reasonably attainable, and safeties where admission is highly likely. Because once you categorize them, it'll help you see where you stand with your priorities, and if the reaches or the targets outweigh the safeties, then you need to reevaluate, or you need to look into more universities to see where exactly you're better going to be fitted, and where you have to play it safe, not so safe. Of course, have targets in there, have Ivy Leagues, heck, apply to all 8 Ivies, but also apply to a lot of the safeties and the safeties and the matches, so that you know where you stand. Next, number 5 is visit the campuses. If possible, go visit the campus of the college on your list, or there are a lot of colleges that have virtual tours on YouTube or on their websites. You can sign up for those. You could talk to current students that go there, just to understand the culture. And again, just because they like it or they don't like it doesn't mean you will, but at least you'll get an idea. And you can also attend classes for information sessions based, like you can attend information sessions that these universities hold to get better understanding. And you can also explore the facilities if you can visit the campus. This will give you a very good and a very first-hand experience and give really valuable insight into whether the campus and the college is right, a good fit for you or not. So definitely try to look into what it's like in general. Number 6, consult with counselors, teachers, and mentors. Now, a lot of schools are affiliated with guidance counselors, which is great. And a lot of schools have their own person as a guidance counselor dedicated for all of this, which is also great. But in case you feel like you need external help, don't be shy of going to companies that are counselors for colleges. They can be of great help and they can help you get to that level which you're aiming for, or they can get you close by because they have years of experience working with students from different categories, grade-wise, extracurricular-wise, etc. So it's really important to seek advice from high school counselors, your teachers, and other trusted individuals who can offer you like really good guidance and insight based on experience and expertise. If a senior of yours, family friend, or whoever, if they went into a university that you think is good for you and you want to apply there, talk to them, discuss different factors, discuss different questions you have in your mind with them, just to get a better understanding of what the college experience for you might be, based on, you can kind of vicariously live through them, just to get a better idea of what the college is like. Because of course colleges will kind of give a great idea of what they're like oh, they're larger than life, but based on different things, it might not be the best fit for you, or it might be exactly what you're looking for. So definitely go and just talk to people to get a better idea. Sorry, my voice is my throat is closing up a bit. But number 7 is consider your financial factors. For this, it's important to have a talk with your counselors, but also with your parents, especially your parents, because they have to pay for your college, and you need to know that, out of this yearly cost, how much can you pay? And that's a very serious conversation to have with them. But you need to, in general, evaluate the cost of attending each college on your list and consider your financial options. Take into account factors like your tuition, your room, your dorms, your books, your transportation, other expenses such as if you're living off campus, then rent and eating food, things like that. You have to also determine whether each college is affordable for you and whether or not you qualify for scholarships, grants, or any type of financial assistance. A lot of companies such as Google, they I believe have charities based on giving scholarships to students. You can apply for those as well, other than just applying for the college and their scholarship. That's another great way of getting financial package for yourself. But definitely have a sit down with your parent or your guardian and kind of figure out where you stand, because that is going to be a big factor. Because if you're applying through, let's say you're applying to the US and you're applying to the Common App, if you apply for scholarship, there's this tick box. I believe it's ticked for all colleges, not for selected colleges. And America has this thing where they have 4 tiers. Tier number 1 would be American residents, American students who don't need aid. They get first preference in uni. Second would be Americans who do need aid. Third would be international students who don't need aid. And fourth, at the very bottom of the barrel, would be students who do need aid. So you kind of slice off a good chunk of your chance of getting in just because you're asking for scholarship, be it with grades or without grades. There are people who get into really prestigious universities with the most average grades just because they could pay their way through college, and people who got exceptional grades couldn't attend the same college because of financial issues. That's why they got rejected, because at the end of the day, the colleges themselves need the funding. So this is such an important task to overcome the financial aid thing. There's also the option of student loans, but it's quite looked down upon in a way. Is that the right word? Not really, but people are usually hesitant with student loans because, well, it's like taking a loan. It's hard to pay back. But to be the devil's advocate, I guess, and in defense of student loans, just one thing. It's like, if you get into a top 20 or top 10 university on a student loan, their starting career pay once you graduate, and once you've graduated from this university, the starting career pay is about 100K. And if the cost of attending per year this university range from 60 to 80K, that is a lot of money. But with a degree from a very prestigious institute, you could still to an extent be able to pay it off, which might not be the case for everyone, but that is something to consider, because at the end of the day, you go to a prestigious institute so you can get other prestigious opportunities once you graduate and once you're in that college and going through those 4 years. So that is something to consider, but of course it is very risky as well, no doubt. Number 8, narrow down your list. So after careful consideration of all factors, narrow down your list to a manageable number of colleges that you are going to be applying to, and aim for a balanced list that includes, again, a mix of reach, targets, safeties, etc. Because there's a thing called supplementary essays. Now there are about 5 supplementary essays per university, give or take. They ask you why you want to pursue your major, and they also have a why us. A lot of universities have a why us essay, which is to better understand that you're applying to us, okay, but why do you want to get in? And let's say you want to apply to 30 colleges, and there are 5 supplementary essays per college. Just do the math. That is a lot of essays, and that will be very time consuming. A lot of people, of course, have done it and can do it, but I personally don't recommend that for everyone. I mean, I'm just in DP2 right now. I haven't really applied to universities, but logically speaking, that's too much to take on yourself, especially the higher grade you are and the more pressure you have. So keep it minimal, and make sure you have a good mix of different categories. Now, number 9, finalize your list. Review your final list of colleges, make adjustments based on additional research or insights, and make sure it aligns with your goals and your majors, and make sure it's ranked well for the major you intend to be pursuing. And finally, number 10, you can just, submit your application to your colleges and whatever, but, make sure you get advice from counselors first. And I really want to say that for this thing, for colleges, you need letter of recommendations, which is basically a teacher or a coach for sports or something. They write you a letter of recommendation, or even an internship boss or mentor, supervisor, to better give the colleges an idea of who you are and kind of how others perceive you and your work ethic. That's what I personally think the letter of recommendations are for. And other than that, you also need to give your transcript for the first 4 years, the last 4 years of your school, and also test scores. Now, test score isn't oh, I had a test in ESS today. Your call is gonna see that. No, it's more about standardized testing, which is SATs and ACTs. A lot of universities are either side blind, well, standardized testing blind, or optional, which means some universities require it for sure, some don't require it at all, like the UCs like Berkeley, UCLA, Davis. They don't require any standardized testing at all. And then there's also like you can say a SAT optional universities, which are okay with if you apply it or you if you submit it or you don't, and they don't put you at an advantage or disadvantage. It like if person A submitted the score and person B didn't, then there's no bias to either. So that's kind of something that's really great. Again, I would really advise you guys to go meet your college counselor or go and find one if you don't have one in your school, because it will really help you understand the process better, and it'll help you tailor it to yourself, because one size again doesn't fit all. Just because something worked for somebody else doesn't mean it'll work for you. If somebody who got into University of Edinburgh for law, it doesn't mean that their advice is going to be 100% applicable to you if you want to apply for medicine, because those are two very different streams. So, but of course, talking to someone who got into that university can have a lot of pros for campus culture, different things like that. If you have an elder sibling, cousin, friend who has gone through this process, have a discussion with them. But most importantly, have these discussions with your parents and have these discussions with your counselors. On an ending note, I just want to say that this is a very tedious and a very kind of losing your brain cells and sanity kind of process. So my advice to people going through this or about to enter this phase in their life is that there are going to be people who are going to tell you that your awards aren't good enough, your extracurriculars aren't good enough, and your grades aren't good enough, so you shouldn't apply to this university, and different things like that. But I personally think don't let anyone stop you. As someone who is going through this right now and can be like, I myself hear these things and I get very demotivated at times. So speaking from personal experience and giving advice, I would say that do what you think works best for you. Just because it worked out for the other person doesn't mean it will necessarily for you. You know yourself better than, quite frankly, anyone. At times you know yourself better than your parents. Your parents know you pretty well, right? But you need to figure out the route that's for you. And I feel like college is such an overwhelming process to apply, and at our age, 16, 17 and younger, or even a little older, it's very overwhelming because you hardly know yourself, and you have to make sure the universities, your essays are coming across as you're so sure of yourself and you're 10 years beyond your own age's wisdom. And that can be just so tough in general. But to be fair, there are going to be counselors out there, there are going to be teachers, parents, so many different people and entities who are going to be telling you you're not good enough for a particular university. And that's okay, because you have a path for yourself somewhere and you will get to that path. So you just need to know that you did yourself. Some people have mental health issues going on, some have other issues, and it's harder for them to focus on these things because of things that are affecting them, and that is so valid. So it's okay, just take it day by day and try to organize yourself. The sooner the better. The sooner you have the clarity, the better, because you'll be on a path and you'll can do self check-ins with yourself and understand where to go from there. But again, if someone tells you that you're not good enough for a particular university, honestly, you're just a kid. Like you're just a kid. It's okay. You will do greater and bigger things in life once you're actually mentally prepared for them. So just take a breather. Just because you didn't get into Harvard doesn't mean your life is down the dumpster. It's really not. So, this is me like giving myself advice at this point, because I personally was so overwhelmed about this today. But and I'm sorry to stretch this out for so long, so I'm gonna kind of start with the closing note. But yeah, if you guys need any advice on college stuff or school stuff, do let me know. And I hope that this episode was helpful for you guys. So yes, see you in the next one.